Well, hello everybody. This is another episode of the Real Tommy Unleashed Entertainment News Show from the Attorney King Studios in sunny Coronado, California. And today I have a special guest. Her name's Bella Levy. And a little intro to this is we were filming a movie in North Carolina a few weeks ago, and there's this little powerhouse from Baltimore came in who I was acting with, and she started telling me about her foundation and her background, which was just amazing. And I told her, you have to be on my show. We have to help you get the word out about her Bella Levy Foundation to fight human trafficking. And you'll be really impressed with this woman, as I was. So, Bella, welcome to the Real Tommy Unleashed show from all the way from Baltimore, folks.
Oh, all the way from Baltimore. And thank you so much for having me on your show. It truly is a pleasure and an honor. And you couldn't have said it better yourself. I think that the entire cast and crew met as strangers and we left as family. And I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know everybody. And thank you so much for having so much interest in my foundation. And look where I am now. I'm on your show talking to everybody. So thank you.
There you go. Yeah, and we have pretty much an international audience. We're live right now on Facebook Live. For people who are watching, go to the IQ Podcast page, like it, and you can follow on there, ask any questions through the chat. We're also on YouTube Live, and then after this broadcast, we'll be on different streaming services, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Play, and so on. So, Bella, why don't you tell us your story?
Okay. So my name is Bella Levy, and I am the founder of the Bella Levy Foundation, the Blue Ribbon Project, which I'll go into detail about that later. And basically, I created a nonprofit organization that education, awareness, and prevention methods against human trafficking. I have a very, very private story, and I know, Tom, I shared that with you when we were away, and I'll circle back to that later. Just gotta get, sorry.
No problem.
I promised that the situation that happened would not be a statistic. And I'm living through that. And sorry. And along my journey, I found the pageants, or maybe more like the pageants found me. I don't know how it was. I truly believe that this universe connects people of purpose together. And I had a trip, I think I mentioned to you about 3 years ago. We went to Israel, and it's a beautiful place to go. And it's very, very, I'm not religious, I'm just very spiritual. And it's a place that has a lot of energy in it. And I went there, and it was a pilgrimage to go with a bunch of other women here from Baltimore. The name of the group was called Momentum. And we were going through Israel, going through Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And then we got to the Kotel, or the Western Wall. I put my hand on the wall, and all of a sudden, everything just became clear. I think I discussed that epiphany with you as well. I knew what I had to do. On the way home, I get home, and the first thing I do is I open up my Facebook, because down there, the internet service was horrible. And the very first thing that popped up was, do you have a mission? Do you want to be a queen? Have your voice heard? Do you have a platform? And I was like, sure. And this was for the DC pageant. Never been a pageant in my life. I'm not a pageant girl. Did a little bit of modeling, but nothing on that grand scale. I was all excited. And since I was invigorated through my trip of women empowerment, that was my platform at the time, because I felt like I wanted to share this magic that I discovered. So I campaigned for DC pageant, and everything was going great. We went to the Kennedy Center, which here it's in DC. It's a very, very, it's like a national monument. A lot of really important things go there. And I got a chance to walk the red carpet, and it was just amazing feeling. And then we went on the stage and we circled around, because she told us, you need to feel what the stage feels like, which, any girl that's ever walked in heels, we always want to know the type of terrain we're traveling on, because I hate to tell you this, Tom, but walking in heels requires a lot of skill. It's not just you just pick it up and go. It's balance. It's like a whole, like in our minds, we have like this whole compass with all these numbers. Like, how do we walk? Where do we? Anyways, so we did that. We circled around. I was so happy. I was so excited. And then this thing called COVID hit. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It kind of
I think I've heard
invaded,
of it.
well, the entire
Yeah.
planet. And our pageant director at the time was really insistent on giving us a pageant. So she, bless her heart, she made the whole pageant through Zoom. So mind you, I've never been in a pageant before. So here I am, having to be the director, the lighting person, the queen, and trying to figure stuff out. I was watching on YouTube a whole bunch of videos on pageants and how they handle and how they walk, and trying to get a little etiquette, because I have nothing to compare it to. All I know is I have this fire inside of me that just wants to just do something. So my really good friend, she owns a beauty shop. She closed the whole place down. She bought me a red carpet, and she bought me black drapes, and she wanted to recreate as much of the Kennedy Center as possible in her facility.
Wow.
So I did not make it into the top. I did not make it into the final four, but I call that day the best day of my life, because a movie director was watching the pageant, because it was virtual. And, I was in my feelings because I lost, and I was like, I feel like I have something to do. And it's just hard to explain. Not to mention that at nights I work at the hospital with radiology. So now I'm super mad at this COVID thing, because not only is it affecting me at work, where I feel like I'm walking around in like hazmat suits, literally, but now I can't do this pageant because of the same thing. So me and COVID, we're not good right now. Like we're not good. So I get this message in my Facebook Messenger, and she was like, "Hey Queen, you ever thought about acting?" And I'm like, I just lost a pageant. Like, ugh. But something told me, revisit her. So I sent her a message. We got to talking. To make a long story short, we met up at a diner. I'm not going to say which name, but we did. And she gave me this to read. I've never seen a script a day in my life. All I saw was a whole bunch of dots and semicolons and a big name and a little name. And I was like, it's like reading a book. Okay. So she said, okay, just read this part. I said, okay. And then I said, where do I audition? She said, you just did. We start filming in 2 weeks. And I was like, huh? I said, I'm not an actress. And she said, let me be the judge of that. So that was an epiphany in my life, that losing the pageant opened up a whole new world for me of acting. And Tom, if you remember, a few weeks ago, there was an award show here in the DMV, and I was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in the DMV, and I won. Right here, there's my award.
Congratulations.
So I reached out to the director, and she's very humble. And I told her, and I said, this award is as much yours as it is mine. And she was just like, oh, Bella, you don't have to do that. And I said, we'll meet up for lunch, and, we'll do something. I want to share this moment with you. And she was happy, and she was proud of me. So then I started thinking, about my past and what situation got me on this journey. And I said, you know what? I want to compete for Maryland, because this is where I live. This is my state. And I decided to have a platform of human trafficking. I have a very, very personal story, and I know I shared that with you offline. And out of respect for the family, I don't know how much I can say, but if anybody wants to reach out to me at a later time, Okay.
Yeah.
Gee, Tom.
Now don't cry.
I know. Once is enough. um, Let me get back to that when I. Okay.
Sure.
So I created the Blue Ribbon Project right here, and that is for blue is the official color of human trafficking. It's the awareness symbol, and royal blue is the official color. The official month is January, and I'll circle back to that later on, what I'm having in January in honor of that. So I wear this on the left side because this is something that's very dear to my heart. Oh my God. Sorry. Just I'm an emotional. Everybody knows that I get very, very emotional, especially when I think about this. Yeah. So wait, so I live here. Before I get into that, I created the foundation because I wanted to help people. And I created this QR code. Can you see that? I think you have that as well.
It's under my background too also.
Yeah, correct. I have this also here. When anybody scans the QR code, they go straight to my website. And the very first question it asks is, do you need police? And if you say yes, there's a button to hit and 911 will be automatically dialed. A lot of these victims, I try to call them warriors and gladiators of human trafficking. They have these things called burn phones, which are phones that receive calls, but they don't dial out for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I've devised a way where I could use their technology against them. Every smartphone, and I think almost everybody has a smartphone now, has a camera. So by using a camera, you bypass the entire situation and you're able to dial out and get help. There's two
Very clever.
major important things I want to accomplish. What was that?
I said that's very clever.
What was that?
Very clever.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. There's two things I want to, there's two things I want to accomplish. One is, well, hopefully I can get my ribbon to stay on right. Oh, sorry. I want to get this QR code in every airplane, every train, every car, every bus, every mass transit as possible. And the other one is I want to get a safe haven started here in my home state of Maryland. Earlier, I mentioned that January is the official human trafficking month. So January 28th, I'm having my Blue Ribbon Gala, which is a huge event. And in the next month, my committee and I are going to put together a whole bunch of information. We're going to start putting everything out on social media and all platforms so people can find out what type of entertainment I'm having and who our guest speakers are. I don't want to let the cat out the bag, but it's going to be it's going to be amazing. And, you can follow me on social media. You can follow Tom and you'll get all the information about that. So Tom, you're wearing this beautiful hat, just like this one. When I met you, when we were in North Carolina, before the goblins had a chance to get me, because Tom is so funny. I gave him one of my hats. And from my foundation, like the shirt that I'm wearing right here, it has founder on it. But the other shirts that I vend, it has the Blue Ribbon Gala, the Blue Ribbon Bella Levy Foundation on it. And on the back is the QR code. And on it says Champions of Humanity. I want to empower the public to become my eyes and ears when I can't. I'm only two eyes. I travel around the city, around the country, actually, to a lot of different places, and I discuss the foundation and how it helps people. And I know one thing I discussed with you, Tom, and you said you weren't even aware of it, was the Black Dot campaign. And the Black Dot campaign actually came from domestic violence. So if anybody was to Google Black Dot campaign, they would see that is a nonverbal form of communication for a cry for help. I did not create it, but I think it's such a wonderful thing to have. Most ladies have mascara, eyeliner, or anything. They could just take and just, put a black dot in here. And sometimes in some despair situations, women have been known to bite their lip. And, when blood dries, blood turns brown. So they use that. I haven't met any human being that has any kind of mole on the inside of their palm. I just haven't met it. So that's how that was arrived. Black, brown, purple, green. Anytime when you see like a circle inside here and somebody's visibly trying to show it to you, that's their way of asking for help. The other one that I promote and I talk about is the angel shot and the angel drink. Again, I did not make this up. I did not create this, but I love the simplicity of it, and I've adapted it. And when I go to restaurants, I usually talk to them. I give the manager a heads up. I'm like, listen, your staff is going to ask you to call the police. Relax. And he's like, why? What happened? I said, just relax. So I'm with my girlfriends, and I'm just going to say I want an angel drink. And the next thing you know, the manager's coming over, and he's like, okay. And most of the times, they don't even know what it was. And there's 3 types. There's on the rocks, there's with a twist, and then there's straight up. And each one has a different meaning. One just means really? I need you to walk me to my car. The other one just says I need help. Or the third one just says, just call the police straight away. And I like these things that's already been created by other organizations. I think it's very, very adaptable to my foundation of how people can get help. It's a very non-discreet way.
Wow. Yes, it is. Very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And with all this going on too, you get into the boxing ring.
Yes. Yes, a friend of mine exposed me to the opportunity of celebrity boxing. And I'm not a boxer. My father was back home, but I'm not. And they said this would be a great way for you to, promote your foundation. And I said, yeah, I want to fight for what I believe in. So the tagline that I used is I fight for those who don't have a voice or a choice. And now I'm working with the heavyweight celebrity boxing, Hazel Roche. I'm on his team. We're working together. And I actually made him the ambassador of humanity. So he's the ambassador of the foundation. He has a fight coming up October 15th in Atlantic City. And we'll be going out there to support him in that. And I want to thank again Mr. Damian Feldman for allowing me to use the platform of celebrity boxing to promote my foundation and get the word out. Because I know sometimes I go out and I talk to people and they have no clue about any of these signs. They have no clue of it even exists. And they have no clue. Like another idea I was talking about is if 1 o'clock in the afternoon, now that school started, and if let's say you go to a hair salon or a nail salon and you see a young lady getting her, nails done or hair done, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, she should be in school. But you have to take a look at behaviors like that. And when you see a young lady that is of high school age there, something's off. So I try to work with some of the places I go to get my nails done and get my hair done and let them know and become aware. And some of them actually hang this in their, I don't know if you could see that. They hang this in their place of business. And I let them know what it is. And we're working on, I try to come in maybe every couple of months and to get the entire staff together and just give them a quick 5-10 minute presentation. When you come in the morning with some bagels and coffee, they're your best friends. They listen to you, you give your demonstration, you tell them what to look for, and then we're done. And like I said, I only have 2 eyes. I can only see so much. But if I empower the public to get involved, to If you see something, say something. If you see something that just does not look right, just go ahead and call the police. I promise you, they are very, very equipped for handling situations like this. I guarantee you they know what to do. And I did a lecture in Texas in the last summer, and this lady came to me and she said, "Well, what if I'm wrong?" And I said, "Well, if you're wrong, then you're wrong. But what if you're right? What if you're right? What if that was your child? You know, you don't want to be that mother with that broken heart, not knowing where your child is."
Right. Right.
It's
I, I don't know if you know an Alexis Young at all.
Yes, I do.
No, she'd like a barcode for her office.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Alan Greenstein is praising you, and I have to
Alan
agree with him that
Alan
he says you
Greenstein
take
is
it.
one of uh, I'm sorry,
He says
Alan
you.
Greenstein is one of my board of directors.
Yeah, he says you
He's
take
great.
advantage of anything where you can promote the foundation, which I figured that one out already.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I just think that in today's world where everybody's glued to this little contraption in our hands,
Hmm.
we have zero um, situational awareness because we're so focused on this device that I just want to get people to open up and look at the world and just say it. God gave us this thing called intuition. You know, you walk into a room and you're like, something doesn't right. Listen to
Right.
that. When you see something that's off, just call it in. Don't even think twice. And some people say, well, I don't want to get involved. And I understand that and I respect that. You can call the police anonymously and you will never get involved. But if you see somebody at a diner, at a bus stop, or anywhere else, and they just don't look like they look misplaced, I want to empower you to
Hmm.
please do something about that.
Definitely. Always go with your gut is what I've always thought.
Correct.
And
Right.
one interesting thing with you being in Atlantic City with the boxing, and I think of places like Atlantic City and even Las Vegas as a haven for trafficked
Oh,
girls,
yeah.
and where the awareness would really
Huge.
need to be exploited.
It's huge. Um, there's a couple of websites. I don't know. Am I allowed to say the name?
Go ahead.
Okay. Um, there's the Craigslist. People sometimes say that they are trying to sell puppies or kittens. That's just code name because who's going to adopt or who is going to want a 12-year-old puppy?
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Puppy is code name for boy, and
Okay.
kitten is code name for girl. There's that website. They are just like piranhas there. Then there's also another website which I found out a couple months ago. I think it's called Backpage. I can't explain it. It's very adult, but if you go
Hmm.
on there, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's people that are usually flying in and out of town. They're staying at a hotel. They're saying, "Hey, I just need, maybe company or whatever while I'm flying in." And these guys that run these rinks, they watch those because that's their hub.
Okay.
This is how I try to explain to people. Like drugs, you could sell one of this and you could sell it, right? Liquor, you have a bottle, you sell one, you can sell it. That's fine. A human being, you can sell over and over and over and over again. People think of human trafficking, they think it just in the sex trade, which it is. It makes up the big portion of it. But lately, with the popularity of plastic surgery, a lot of young ladies are going outside the United States to get procedures done. And I just, please be careful where you're going because now organ harvesting is on the rise. We as human beings, we have two kidneys. You only need one to live. So they can perform whatever operation that you're getting. And then when you come home, you realize you have a kidney missing. You will never know it unless you get sick, because you can only you only need one to live. But a human kidney is worth $15,000 on the black market.
Hmm.
Sometimes they also use these young ladies and young gentlemen as mules. They fill them up with all kinds of narcotics. And when they come over and they land inside the United States and the borders, usually on the East Coast, the West Coast, or through Texas, somebody approaches them and says, hey, you need to come with us. And they don't care how their product comes out. Either it's going to come out antegrade normally, or they're going to force it out.
Hmm.
So I understand the plastic surgery is on the rise, and I get it. And I'm all for anything that makes you feel good, but really, really do your research, because when you go down there, it's just you in a room. You're under anesthesia. You don't know what's going on, and you don't know who's there. There are a lot of reputable doctors in other countries. I'm not saying that they're not, but if you do go to somebody who has a good reputation, make sure it's somebody you know. Make sure it's somebody that you've checked out. Don't just respond to an ad saying you can get, for example, like a BBL for $2,000. Because if it's so inexpensive, you have to ask yourself why.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the average BBL in the United States runs between $10,000 and $15,000, just so that you have a gauge of what to compare it to. BBL, for those that don't know, means Brazilian butt lift. And that seems to be that with breast enhancement. That seems to be a very, very popular cosmetic surgery that a lot of women and men get. So
Interesting.
it's not just limited to the sex trade. Also, human trafficking is big in labor. Like sometimes you go to 7-Eleven early in the morning and you see the laborers there with their trucks, and they just want to work and go and do painting or whatever. You have to ask yourself, how did these people get here? They don't speak English. That means somebody had to get them, and they're holding something over them that makes them do that. And I, as a lady, I don't know if I would be open to have that dialogue, but certainly I can, the police watch those areas really, really well. And usually they speak to those guys and make sure that everybody's okay and they don't need a way out.
Oh, that's very interesting. You told me you did something really interesting with the crowns that you won in beauty contests with young
What was
girls.
that?
You told me about what you did with your crowns that you win from beauty competitions with young girls, and
Yes,
that's really
yes.
sweet.
Oh, so I met a young lady and she was the cutest little thing. Really, really pretty girl, but she was just, you could tell I think I sent you the video or I showed it to you, but she just
Yes, you
lacked a
showed it to
little bit
me.
of, but she just lacked a little confidence. So I asked her dad, I said, is it okay? Because I'm not going to say yes to the kid and then the dad has to be the heavy and say no. And I said, can I give her my crown? And he was like, sure. So I found the biggest mirror I could find and I presented her with my crown. And I told her, I said, I am a queen and I give you my crown. And today you're a princess and you have special powers and you're beautiful. And her dad said that she didn't take it off for 3 days. But,
That's wonderful.
but the light in her eyes, just how she felt about herself, to me was good. And like I think I told you, I don't keep my crowns. I'll keep my
Right.
sash though. I'll keep my awards. And I think I showed you my crowns. These are the ones I recently got
Yes.
when I competed in North Carolina. So I hold on to them for a little bit, and then I feel like the powers that be find their next crown to sit on. And usually I'll just meet a young lady somewhere and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I need to give her this. And I don't know why, it just happens. And that young lady that I gave my crown to, I spoke to her dad and he said that she changed. and she felt better about herself, and she's like, I'm a princess. And I said, you are, because I'm a real life queen and I give you my
Hmm.
crown, so you're a princess. And at one point she was discussing with me about possibly entering a pageant, and I told her, and I said, if that's what you want to do, I will help you with that. So I think her father and I are going to have dialogue about possibly entering the state that she lives in, maybe next year.
Wow, that
Hmm.
that would be quite interesting.
Yes. But
It's
just to see that smile on that girl's face
yes.
meant everything to me.
Wow. And this gala that you got coming up in January,
Hmm.
you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So I have my committee, my gala committee, and we meet once a month and we discuss what we're going to do for the gala. And originally I was going to make it one day. And then I was like, well, no, because I really want people to get to know my heart and who I am on the inside.
Hmm.
So I decided to make it a 3-day event. And this is how it's going to go. Friday night is a meet and greet where everybody can come out and meet our vendors and meet our sponsors. And the hotel is making a drink called the Bellatini, which, it's like a blue martini, obviously, for the color. I
Yeah.
firmly believe that when people get to know each other the night before a function, on the day of the function, they are able to enjoy themselves a little bit better because they don't feel that awkward of, this is a new person. And
Hmm.
then Saturday is the actual gala. And I want to say a big, big thank you to my entire committee, my gala committee. They've been working non-stop, and we're working on, I think by the end of this month, we're going to release a casting call, because I am going to have a fashion show that starts off the gala. And then the gala is going to have 3 or 4 keynote speakers. I can't say who because I haven't got the contracts back, and I don't want to
Hmm.
say somebody's name and then it not happen.
Right.
And we're going to have a couple of artists perform. We're going to have a couple of people that do the spoken word. And we're just going to really, really have a great night of entertainment. I would love for you and your wife to come down. And I know that we had that dialogue off camera, and you said you were going to try, and I would love to have you.
Yeah.
Um, and then Sunday morning, we're going to have a farewell breakfast and award ceremony if I don't get through it on Saturday night, because you can't leave my event on an empty stomach. No, we don't do that. I'm gonna make sure I feed you before you leave. There's a couple of major awards that I'm giving out that I want people to really, really know about. One is, I call it the Sound of Freedom Award.
Hmm.
And I think I shared with you, I think it was in April, I was invited to a military base to talk about my foundation. And
Right.
I kept on hearing these planes. And in the morning, when we had to speak again, the gentleman was like, did you sleep okay? And I said, yeah, but like, these planes were all over the place. And he said, we call that the sound of freedom. And to me, as a foreigner, I just cried, because that's why all foreigners come to this country. We want that sound of freedom.
Right.
And this award is going to go to a veteran. And I support them wholeheartedly. When I ran for DC, my friend Sam Rodriguez made me the spokesperson for the Borinqueniers. And I have the medal, and I take it everywhere I go. And I live the legacy of every single veteran, past, present, future. So I'm giving that award away. The second award is, whew, just recently. It was September the 11th. Um, my really good friend, we had a homegoing party for her. It was her birthday.
Hmm.
She fought very hard against cancer, and she lost. Um, so when I was doing, sorry, when I was doing DC, I had this contest called Queen for a Day. And I wanted to find, if I'm doing this, there has to be another woman that's doing the same thing. I can't just be
Hmm.
the only one. So I opened up a contest and I had so many nominations. People wrote in for their husbands, their wives, their sisters, any woman that just I think needs to be pampered for a day because she puts her family first. She puts her community first. And then I received her nomination. And I know her because we're both in the salsa community. I think I shared with you I love salsa dancing. And I reached out to her and I told her and I said, you know, you won. And she was like, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure." And then of course COVID messed everything up. Um, then I reached out to her again when I had everybody take the pledge, which I will engage your audience to do that with me shortly. Um, and she was sick, um, fighting cancer, but she did the pledge and she sent
Hmm.
it in to me. And I think I shared with you how I had everybody do the pledge and do that.
Right.
So instead of the Queen for a Day award, it's now going to be called the Noem, I'm sorry, the Noemi Mimi Perez Award. And her husband is going to come. His name is Don. He's going to accept in her honor. And every year after that, he is going to be the presenter of that award. And that
Oh,
award
nice.
is going to be for a woman that I believe is doing everything in the community, somebody who is changing lives and putting herself last. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I spoke to her husband just a few days ago, and it was an emotional day for all of us. We lost our friend, gone too soon. She was too young, but she fought a good fight. And halfway through the presentation, the photographer, her camera just started blinking for no reason. Like the camera went off, and everybody in the room said that was Noemi because she had this biggest smile that just lit up a whole room. So
Wow.
that's the second award I'm giving out at the gala. The third award it's a secret. We're working on it. It's gonna be real special. But as the day gets closer, I will release more and more information.
Yeah, and then just share that with me, so I'll put it out too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And and I'm gonna put that in my calendar to make sure they can come to that.
Yes, yes, I would love to have you guys. Baltimore is beautiful. The hotel that I'm having it at is at the Marriott. On the right is the iconic Hippodrome Theater, and on the left is Lexington Market. For anybody who is native of Baltimore, knows that's a beautiful area. Uh, One thing I wanted to make sure there's plenty of parking because we all know city parking is horrible. So the
Yes.
hotel is so nice to provide us with parking and security for that night. So I'm very, very grateful. I can't forget the caterer. I'm having an amazing caterer. His name is JR Speed. And anybody that's ever had any of his food will know that is the guy. He's just, The event is going to be hosted by no other than Miss Robin Shockley. And if nobody knows who Miss Robin Shockley is, reach out to her. She is the hostess with the mostest. She's like a little bundle of energy, and she's going to be introducing people instead of having a red carpet that we normally have. I have
Okay.
ordered a royal blue carpet, so everybody walks in on a royal blue carpet and gets an interview with Robin Shockley.
Wow. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice, nice. That sounds like quite an affair. You
Yes,
have to pack my
um,
tux for that one.
the main yes, bring that royal blue. The main purpose of this is to serve as a fundraiser because I want to get that safe haven open. Um, the safe haven, we've done research. The most underdeveloped area in Baltimore is the area called Dundalk. It's off the 95th corridor. That's where a lot of the activity is happening. That's
Hmm.
where I would like to build the very first safe haven. Now, um, my team and I, we review our stats every couple of weeks or so. So remember I told you about this QR code?
Mm-hmm.
So, oops, there you go. So I am able to speak with my team, and they're able to track who logs in on that QR code from where. We obviously
Oh,
we
okay.
can't see their number. We just know, like, if somebody from Kentucky logs in, we'll just see somebody from Kentucky logged in. So as of, I think, a few weeks ago, 7 continents, not countries, 7 continents have all logged in at one point in time. And I travel every single time I get
Wow.
on an airplane. I give it to anybody that is willing to take it. I just want to show you this cup, my bling cup. Everybody knows that I'm a bling girl. So this lady from Texas, the name of her company is called Crystal Swagger. She found out what I was doing, and she made this for me, I think, a year and a half ago. So when I
Oh,
competed for
wow.
celebrity boxing, my trainer at the time, his name was Yuri, he filled my water in here, and that was in my corner. So big shout out to her. If you like, see, I'm a bling girl, even my nails are blinged. If you like Swarovski crystals and you like those kind of things, reach out to her. She does amazing, amazing work.
Very, very nice. Oh, what other plans you've got going on now? Are you
Well, I
acting? You
just
got
found
anything
out
else coming up, or?
yesterday. I do. I always have stuff coming up. um, I found out yesterday I was nominated for Extraordinary Humanitarian People Award.
Oh, very
I will be
nice.
traveling to, yeah, I was totally humbled by when I found out. I will be traveling to Texas, and they asked me to briefly speak. And it's a big, big deal down there. It's over 300 some people, and I think it's the Karate Museum. So a lot of
Okay.
people in the karate community, and karate and the martial arts, they're all natural born protectors. So when they found out what I was doing, they wanted to help me. And I was just when I found out that they wanted to honor me in that way, I was like, duh, speechless. But of course,
Speechless.
yes. And you know me well enough. That's hard for me to do. um, but I'm so grateful that I get a chance to travel to Texas again and be part of that. And I think I have another project. Well, October 15th is the fight in
Hmm.
Atlantic City for Hazel Roche. And then after that, I think there's a movie somewhere. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, with June DeGasio. Sheer, I'm sorry. It's called Saving Anna, which is also another human trafficking movie.
Mm, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right in your ballpark. That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I
Mm.
love it when um, the industry finds out about what I'm doing, and I ask them, can we put a QR code in a window, or can we do placement somewhere? And for the most part, they're all really, really supportive. And I'm very, very lucky. Um, can you get that, please? And I'm really, really, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Wait. That's mine. I'm sorry.
This is what happens
Um,
when we go live. No problem.
Right. It's just between us. Like, nobody else in the world will see this. That's what
No,
happens when
no.
you have kids at home. But that's okay. That's all right. God love them. So when they find out that I'm doing, I have a foundation against human trafficking, and they say, "Oh, well, I'm doing a movie. Can you come on?" Originally, I was asked to come on as a consultant just to see, make sure everything is authentic. And then we
Hmm.
started having dialogue, and he was like, "You can act," and I was like, "Sometimes." So he gave me a little teeny role, and that turned into a much larger role. And that's what I got this award for. Was I
Oh, very nice.
portrayed a madam in a brothel, but I was really there to help the girls escape.
Okay.
So when I'm given a role that is so near to what I like to do, I really submerge myself in it, and I feel like, that movie is going to be played over and over and over again. Maybe somebody somewhere will get the message.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. I was in a movie, and I don't think it was ever released. I don't know what happened, but it was called Sex Church.
Hmm.
And it sounds strange, but what it was a church where that took in women who had become prostitutes and to help to get them out of the situation. And I don't know whatever happened to it. I thought it was really going to be a good story, but sometimes those things are made, and they don't have the funding to finish or whatever, or go to post. So, but I'm glad you're doing that. So,
Sometimes projects get shelved and then they come back
yeah,
and then they get
yeah,
revamped. Before I forget, I was on the phone. You mentioned Crystal.
yeah.
I'm sorry, you mentioned Alexis. I apologize. I was on the phone with her late last night, and she was helping me put together a casting call. So please be looking out on a casting call. She's going to help me with that for models for the fashion show I'm having. And I love diversity. I know the industry likes to celebrate models that look only a certain way, this cookie cutter image. One of the main reasons I wanted to go into pageantry is I wanted to show my daughter, who looks exactly like me, that it's okay not to conform to this Barbie doll look and still make a change. And
Absolutely.
everybody, what makes you beautiful is your own authenticity. What makes you beautiful is having courage to do something. I wanted to get that across. So when I was on the phone with Alexis last night, she said, well, do you have any, ages, sizes? I said, no, you have to be. I think that because of the nature of the topic, at least 16 years plus. I don't want anybody younger than that because of what's going to be discussed in that event. And I think the parents need to have that dialogue with them. I don't want
Hmm.
them to, you know what I mean? I think I
Yeah.
respect the parents too, right? So she said she's putting something together, and I said I want every shape, every size, every color, every ethnicity, because I want to celebrate humanity. And I know that little girls look in a magazine and they see, first of all the pictures are photoshopped, so they're trying to live up to this image that they can never ever ever get because all the pictures are just not there. I
Right.
want a young lady to, go to a fashion show and see somebody, hey, she looks like me. She has curly hair like me. Well, I straightened mine, but that's a different story. Um, I have somewhere to go tomorrow, so I need to keep it. Um, I want them to connect to something that's not mainstream. I love the
Hmm.
fact now that curves are being accepted. I love the fact now that the models have a little bit more meat on their bones, because I remember when I was younger, models were like thin, and it's like that was the standard. And I think what was taught was if you're skinny, you're pretty. And I think that is such a big misunderstanding, because I think beauty is on the inside of the heart. You can be makeuped up all up and down, but up on the inside, if you don't have the right formula of courage and love and compassion and kindness, then you're ugly. I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but beauty starts within. And
Yeah, and it
I
always
always say
does.
that, um, I always have two sayings. My paycheck of the heart is to help humanity, and then the other one is I lead with compassion and kindness. And the young lady that I gave the crown to, she said, why is this so heavy? And I said, well, when you're a queen or you're a princess, you do have to have a heavy heart, and you do have to keep your head up high, because sometimes people will say mean things. But being a queen and being a princess, you always lead with kindness. And if you lead with kindness, you can never go wrong.
Mm, what a good message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't. I was looking at our timer here. I can't believe how much time has gone by already.
Oh,
We've been on
wow.
for almost an
Yeah,
hour.
if
Too
you let
bad.
me, I'll talk too much.
No, I could sit and listen to you for hours. Um, but unfortunately, we don't have that because they have other shows on this and the network.
Right.
But what I like to do is take 5 minutes to have you summarize and put all your contact informations, any referral information you want to get out there. The one thing we're doing while this is going, it's also doing it's printing your, trying to think what it's doing like subtitles with your
Okay.
what you're saying so people can read it too. So
Oh, great.
that'll be on there
If I
also.
may,
Hmm.
at this point, remember I talked about the Blue Ribbon Project. I
Yes,
would love at this point for everybody, your audience and you yourself, to
yes,
please join me in taking the pledge. Put your hand on your left side, because the left side of the body is where the heart is, and
yeah.
repeat after me. Hi, my name is,
Hi, my name is Tommy Anderson,
and today I take the pledge against human
and
trafficking,
today I take the pledge against human trafficking,
and I support the Bella Levy Foundation.
and I support the Bella Levy Foundation.
Thank you. And I hope that some of the information I gave you, that when you do go into the world later on tonight or tomorrow or the day after, you start looking at it through a different lens. You start
Sure.
paying attention to that girl sitting in a diner that just looks displaced. That you start taking this device and maybe just put it down and just scan your surroundings. Um, I made a promise that the tragedy that I experienced would not be a statistic. And anybody that wants to reach out to me, I'll be more than happy to discuss that. I'm sorry, I just get all choked up.
That's fine.
You can reach me on Bella Levy on Facebook, Bella Levy, Levy. On Instagram, I'm going to spell it for you. It's BELLACHKA 2021. In Russian, Belichka is my name. It's Bella, but when you add chka to anything, it just means like sweet. Like in Spanish, they say "Oh, que linda." It's the
Hmm.
same philosophy. Um, I check. I have a young lady that helps me run my social media, and whenever anybody reaches out, if it's anything of importance, she reaches out to me right away. I've contacted a couple people. A couple people have contacted me directly, and I spoke to them, and I got them the help that they needed. And I'm very, very happy to do so. There is a shelter not too far from where I work. I'm sorry, where I live, and I collect clothing sometimes, and I go to those women and I try to teach them the skills they need to get an interview. How do they dress? How do they talk? Because as we all know, the days of the yes no interviews are over. Now they ask
Hmm.
what these things called behavioral interviews. Name a time when you did so and so. And when you come from an environment like that, maybe you don't have a time like that. So I work with them to try to get them more, in that way. But the safe haven that I was telling you about is I want it to be a place, first of all, a place of kindness, a place of love, a place of rehabilitation, no questions asked. We will welcome anybody. We will get you psychological, physical, any type of help you need with the doctors and other medical professions we have on staff. We will try to help you with job placement, and we will try to get you back into a world. And I know that I can't imagine the type of hell you might have crawled through. And if you felt that the world forgot about you, I did not. And nobody else that just took the pledge with me right now did either. And we live in a world that's not always perfect, and I understand
Hmm.
that. But with kindness, with compassion, maybe we could just make it just a little bit nicer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, thank you, Bella, for being my guest today.
Thank you for having
Everybody,
me.
oh, it was a pleasure. But I was looking forward to this. Uh, Thanks to everybody watching the Real Tammy Unleashed show today on the i2 podcast channel out of the Attorney King Studios in Coronado, California. And again, today, my guest, the amazing Bella Levy of the Bella Levy Foundation. And she's a healthcare worker, a human rights advocate, a celebrity boxer, and a film actress, and probably everything in between. Model, spokesperson, just an all around wonderful person. And with that, you take care. God bless,
Thank
and
you.
we'll be talking later. And for everybody, this will be on later. It'll be on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it and forward it. It'll also be on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Play, Google I, whatever that is, and a bunch of other streaming services. So thank you again, and thank you everybody for tuning in today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tommy.
Oh.
Thank you.